On the Taxi Stand Hour.
Over.
On Radio TFI.
Join the conversation. You can reach the guys at 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428, on Twitter at Taxi Stand Hour. From a payphone, call collect.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
It's John.
And good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Taxi Stand Hour on Radio TFI. We are live here on this Sunday, November 21st, 2021, from the Radio TFI Northern Command Studio in Eagan, Minnesota. I'm John Shannon. And over there in Queens, New York, in the Radio TFI Executive Floor, it is the one and only Ed Van Ness. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, kids and kittens. We trust you've had a fine and fantastic week. We are here. It is Thanksgiving week coming up. Gobble, gobble to you all. I'm sure we'll talk about more about that in hour number 2. But we are here. We got a full first hour. We got John tells me we have a guest from jolly old London. Should be calling in here in about 10 or 15 minutes. We look forward to that. We've got some information on, speaking of London cab drivers, on something that I created a bit of a dust up on with our good pal Steve Johnson. I've got an update on that, which we'll get to. And it's cold here in New York. John?
It's cold here in Minnesota.
It's Minnesota.
It is very 30. Well, it's actually not that bad here. 37 degrees.
It's that bad.
I mean, but the problem is we've had a prevailing wind at about 30 to sometimes 40 miles an hour here. And that has caused, good Lord, it's been a mess.
You know how we spell that kind of cold? B-R-R-R-R. Brr.
Yeah, it hasn't. But, you know, most of the time I'm in a nice warm vehicle, so I don't have to worry about it. And there isn't any of that nasty white stuff falling out of the sky yet. So every day we can put that off around here, the better.
There we go. Now, let's I see our guest has arrived. He's in the green room. So let's take care of a little business here. First off, we're going to do the stock, John's favorite segment, the Radio TFI Stock Market Watch. Are you ready, John?
About as ready as I'm going to be.
Oh, and by the way, hit your record button. We're going to need it. It's the Radio TFI Market Watch, brought to you by We Need a Sponsor, please. Come on, it's the holidays. Uber closed the week at $44.23, down $2.96. Meanwhile, Lyft closed the week at $47.51. Ready for this? Down $6.04. Woohoo! This has been the Radio TFI Market Watch. Please sponsor us.
I believe there was a song that was back in the 70s. Something like, what goes up must come down.
Yeah. Doo-doo-doo. Spinning wheel. 3 Dog Night, baby. 3 Dog Night. Before we move on to our guest, in the past week or so, I guess it was last week, and Friday before, when they were kind enough to have us on TNCRadio.live, Steve Johnson from the Rideshare Podcast, Rideshare Podcast?
Rideshare Rodeo on the Twitter.
Rideshare Rodeo. My deepest apologies. Brought up about how Uber drivers have to receive training similar to the knowledge. And I said poo-poo to that. I said I had never heard of such a thing. I mentioned it again that following Sunday, 2 days later on this very program, and we got a little blowback on it, a little dust up. So I actually did do my research, and here's what I came up with. What's required of an Uber driver or private hire driver is what's known as a PCO, public carriage. Let me get the phrase correct. The public carriage office issues the license. Now, for all the reading I did, it's a 3-year license, but it is extremely similar to what is issued here in New York City. You go through similar. Oh, by the way, this is directly from their website. Okay, somebody that it's a getlicense.co.uk. Do I need training for a PCO license? There is no specific training course for the PCO license. However, you can receive assistance with 2 aspects: the English test and the topographical skills test. Some providers will offer training and assessment for both these areas. In other words, it is nothing like the knowledge. There is no intensive learning. It's not 2-3 years. It takes you a couple of weeks to get this license. It runs you, I think they said it was about 600 pounds. And it's very similar to what I went through to get my New York City license. You have to be able to read a map. And I can promise you, if it's anything like New York City, I think I was one of 2 natural English speakers in that class. And believe you me, it wasn't that difficult. It wasn't that difficult. So while yes, there is something for the Uber drivers, I stand with it's not nearly as intensive. It's nothing like the knowledge. And
my guess is with that is that before the dust up with Uber being taken out of the picture in London, there wasn't even that. This is something, even what you're describing is something relatively new as far as Uber drivers are concerned.
Right. Well, I honestly, I don't know how long ago it started, but that's it. That's all that needs to be done. And again, Steve, you were on the right path. You were heading down the right road. And I think I'll send you this link. The link that I was sent was for a site called Splend. And what this Splend does, they rent cars to Uber drivers. So they just basically provided a link to how to get the PCO license. And and again, it was just a little bit of research. Hey, look, Steve was on the right track. He just kind of veered off a little bit. And we'll talk about it again at some point. I'm sure we will. John, why don't you bring our guest in?
All right. Well, at long last, we have been searching, beating the bushes, searching the weeds, whatever analogy you want to use, trying to find a real life, genuine cab driver from the UK, a black cab driver. And I think, lo and behold, we have indeed found one. He goes by the name of Ikbal. Am I pronouncing that right, sir? Are you there with us, sir?
He's got his mic muted at the moment, so we have to wait for him to come back on. And once he does, oh, there he is. There we go.
Yes. Sorry. So can you, am I with you now?
Yes. You sure are.
Yeah.
Now, let me make sure I'm pronouncing
in London.
Let me make sure I'm pronouncing your name
Ikbal.
properly first. Ikbal. Okay, great.
Ikbal from Canary Wharf.
Beautiful. All right, well, we brought you on because we just, Ed and myself are huge fans of the London black cab industry. We call it the gold standard of the world when it comes to the taxi industry, quite frankly. I mean, we we here think in America that we're pretty good, and you've got the New York taxis and a few other, San Francisco, a few of our other large cities have fairly good taxi systems, but I think lo and behold, London is the gold standard, and I wanted to get somebody on here to tell us about it and tell us how things have, especially dealing with the infestation of Uber over these past years. So, welcome aboard, sir, and tell us how long you've been doing the black cab trade in London.
I've been a taxi driver for the past 22 years.
Wow,
I'm a green
that's
badge
great.
holder. There are licenses in London. One is what we call a suburban, known as a yellow badge, and the all London license, which is a green badge, which I'm a holder of.
Beautiful. You 22 years. Now,
That's right. Yeah.
Tell me now. We've had other guests on that explain the process a little bit. Tell me what you had to go through to get your green badge.
Yeah. In the good old days, as we call them, the system impeccably by the Metropolitan Police. In fact, they are responsible for the black cab, what you see today. Nothing to do with the current regulator. They just inherited the system. All they've done since the day they came in is interfere with it, and try to bring us down, helping their boats who have come across from the Atlantic. They've had the red carpet rolled out for them. And basically, when you sign on for the knowledge of London, you first have a background check, and then they write to you and say you've been accepted to go on the knowledge of London. I'm talking about the Metropolitan Police now.
Okay.
And then you have to do somewhere in the region of 300 routes that you have to learn. And you learn all of interest like hotels, hospitals, clinics, airports, and of course, railway stations.
Mm-hmm.
And all other points of interest.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody jumps in your cab and say, take me to the Prospect of Whitby, which is in Wapping, in the Docklands in London. It's one of the oldest pubs in London, and it's quite a sort of a famous place that people like to go to. It's not a mile, not too far from Tower Bridge.
Okay. So, in other words, when somebody jumps in your cab, you don't. You ask where they're going. You don't have time. They want to get moving, so you don't have time for you to look that up in your little map book or possibly type in information on your GPS or sat nav, I believe, as they're called out there. You have to they jump in, you have to put that car in gear and get going and get them to their destination. And that's what sets the London taxi industry apart from other forms of transportation, such as the private hire cars over there, Uber and the like.
Right. Yeah. The people get in. I mean, quite often I just go back to something in my very first 2 weeks when I got my license. I had an elderly American couple jump in, and they said, "Take us, to the Holborn Grange." And when I got them there, I heard a round of applause, and they said to me, like clockwork, because there was only one way to get to this hotel without having taken them around the world, And as for that, yes, well, you can keep it. There's nothing that will go beyond the human brain. even with intelligence and what have you, you know. I mean, quite often what happens now is because we're taking our work back. I mean, that has been the dramatic development since the pandemic, is that we are taking our work back, in a big time. It's partly due to the shortage of taxis because of the things, and also a lot of drivers, because of the licensing of Uber and the sheer number of drivers. They've issued 110,000 private hire licenses to keep their buddies on the road. As I said, they've laid out the red carpet for them, and they don't have to do anything. All you have to do is pay £300, and hey, guys, you're in business. Whereas it takes us 3 years minimum. We know London like, the back of our hand. And quite often we'll get their passengers, people who have got fed up driving around with these guys. And they'll say, look, this guy's been driving us around for 20 minutes. Can you take us to this hotel? Because some of our hotels are kind of like tucked away and they're very old. And unless you know how to get there, you're not, your GPS is not going to do the job for you, because quite often what it does is it sort of leaves you 50, 60 yards from the place, but still you got to go into a street where you can't, like an alleyway or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard, Ed and I were just talking about this before you came on, about how Uber and the other private hire cars have gone through some minimal amount of training of late. I still get a feeling that it's nothing like the knowledge whatsoever. It's kind of a something just to kind of appease a few people here and there. But and Uber just agreed to do it because, as I understand, there for a while they were deemed unfit to operate in the UK. But do me a favor. You briefly mentioned here the fact that business is starting to come back because of the pandemic. How bad, at its worst point in time, how bad was it when Uber and Lyft started taking a hold on the market? And forgive my mention of Lyft. Forgive that. That's Lyft is completely an American pariah. Maybe some in Canada, but
no, we haven't had the arrival of that disease here yet. We've only got the other mob. They've had a devastating effect on our business since 2012, because they admitted in open court that the drivers were taking the booking, and they were not penalized for that. As far as I'm concerned, they should have been heavily sanctioned. But yeah, it was very, very tough for us. They were undercutting us, subsidizing the rides. But now that the subsidies have run out and they've got to show some profit to the hard-nosed investors, what's happening is they're using, they seem to be on permanent surge pricing. In many cases, they're charging more than our meter, our so-called expensive meter. But as far as I'm concerned, our meter is quite cheap compared to their prices.
We hear it all the time here. You don't have to go very far onto Twitter. All you have to do is just run a search on Twitter for Uber, and you immediately see people complaining, and mostly complaining about the price, but other things complaining about drivers making up stories about masking and doing other things to get the to basically get the little no load fee from the customer, pocket that, and basically move on or whatever. And so a lot of the drivers who are still remain with Uber and Lyft, and I'm not saying that they're all like this, but a lot of them are just have figured out ways how to sham the system, and it was only going to be a matter of time, and people are complaining about
You're
it.
quite, yeah.
People
You're
are
quite
going
right,
back
John.
to taxis.
Yeah, you're quite right, John. What the constant complaint we get from their users, will be going along the street with our light on. We'll see them there standing with their phone open. As soon as they see us, the hand goes up. They get in and the first thing they say, "I'm fed up with these Uber guys. They've cancelled me." Say now, the reason they're doing that is it's quite obvious to me. They're trying to manipulate the algorithm. So if the journey gets cancelled enough times, when it comes round again to them, they're hoping fare to have doubled. Basically, that's how their algorithm works, and they are manipulating it, and they are trying to up the price, because now, after the Supreme Court ruling in the UK, where they have to pay them pension rights, holiday pay, sick pay, and at least a minimum wage.
Mm-hmm.
They're taking the driver's money and handing it to them back in benefits, therefore cutting the true rate that they get paid.
Well, yeah, we could go on for hours about the flaws that Uber got themselves into, and the only thing I will say about that, for all those folks that are clamoring that Uber drivers should be treated like employees, it was never meant to be an employee-employer relationship. It was that you were an independent contractor, almost to the true sense of the word, and that's basically the same thing as 90% of the taxi industry is. There's a couple exceptions to it, but for the most part, you are out there. You're an independent contractor. You're responsible for your own, even with the cab. Now, I'm assuming you don't own. Do you own your taxi, or do you just lease it from a group of people or a company?
I lease my taxi from a taxi garage.
Okay.
In the past, I have owned a taxi, and the way the system works is I pay them £240 a week plus, and I put in my own diesel, which brings me up to about £400 a week before I go into profit. But all the repairs, the insurance, everything is theirs. Tires, maintenance, all of that stuff is there. I don't wish to own a taxi because this particular model is not very good.
No, I mean that's not that's not a bad price, considering that drivers in my particular city to lease a vehicle is over $500. Plus, they have to pay their own gas too. So that's actually not a bad. That's not a bad deal.
Yeah, I mean, John, I'd love to have an electric cab, but you see what this mayor has done. They're shoving us into electric cabs, but the true cost of that cab is 88,000 British pounds. That's a huge amount.
Oh, sure.
Money. 88 grand. I'll tell you how we could all have an electric taxi if the politicians, they stopped helping private hire in general, and the playing field was level. Every single one of us would have an electric taxi, but these people, who talk about, oh, it's competition, it's this or that. This is not what they're doing. Is they're running a rigged market on their behalf. That is what the politicians are doing. And quite frankly, the guy we've got in charge at the moment, is completely out of his depth. Completely.
I understand he's not very popular.
No, he's not popular at all. What he's done to our trade, our age limit, they put an age limit on our taxis first, 15 years. You got to remember these cabs, they cost £45,000.
Mm-hmm.
The diesel, 15-year age limit on initially. And this guy comes along and reduces it to 12 years. Now, people not that long ago, 5 years ago, spent £45,000 in good faith, getting a cab, thinking it would be all right. But all of a sudden, that cab has become worthless because nobody's going to buy a cab that's going to have 6, 7, 8 years left on it, because knowing that it's not going to be of any use in the future, and you won't be able to sell it on because this emissions business, this emissions cane that they are beating us with, is spreading throughout the country. It's in our other major cities now. They're introducing, congestion charges, and we've just had a ULEZ, which is ultra low emission zone, introduced in London. A lot of the private motorists, they've had to go, because if they don't, every time they go out and get a gallon of milk, it's going to cost them £12.5 we could charge, and it's 24/7 that charge as well, which I think is very, very unfair. The way that he's done it, I mean, they've even targeted the disabled people, which is shameful if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I tell you what, we appreciate you coming on here and explaining a little bit to us about the London taxi industry. Like I said, Ed and myself have always felt that the London taxi industry, that of the black cabs, that's the gold standards, and we're glad that you are at least getting some headway again here. And for whatever reason, Ed and I knew all along that the whole business model for Uber and all these other, whether it be Lyft or whether it be the ones that are in other parts of the world, we knew that the business model wasn't going to last for very long. So unfortunately, there's been a lot of lives affected. It couldn't have went away. It still hasn't gone away, but it couldn't have happened soon enough as far as Ed and I are concerned. Ed, you brought yourself into the picture. Do you have a question you want to?
I just want to say thank you for joining us, and I step back just to let the conversation flow a little bit more naturally. And I was in the business both as a driver and an operator. I owned and operated my own cabs. Did exactly the situation you're in, but I was the management side. While I was still a driver, I leased out cars, and sometimes that is the right way to go. Sometimes that is the best way to go. And under the circumstances right now, I think it's a fair price you're paying. I know you guys are coming back to life, which, I'm so happy. I'm out of the business myself, have been for the past 3 years. We won't go into that whole story. That's a whole nother story that took up the first 3 years of this program. But again, I want to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Well, you take care and be safe out there.
Yeah, and you two guys as well. Keep, my message to the New York cabbies. Yeah, you can beat these guys. Okay, we had to up our game, and I'm sure New York and the rest of the taxi trade in the United States has done the same thing.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's
I gotta tell you,
this is a busted flush. Their model it will collapse eventually. The bubble is about to burst.
I will say this: I am in New York City, and I will tell you this: the taxi industry is coming back. While I'm no longer in it, I spend a lot of time driving around the city, and I see a lot more hands up than I do see people looking at phones. And by the way, the little thing you mentioned about driving by and seeing people looking down on their phone, when I was still an active driver a few years back, that's exactly what I would look for. Exactly what I would look for. And just kind of sit there and give them the opportunity to sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. But you get, that's the business. That's how you have to operate in our business. Is anyway, but as John said, and I'm going to repeat it, you guys are the gold standard. Just because of what you have to do to
very
get
much
the business.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very tough exam, and everyone who does it, they hold that badge with pride.
Yes, we see that from what we see on the Twitter feeds and all the forums I've read. And justifiably so. And justifiably so. But again, I want to thank you for your time today. We appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
All right. Take care. You have a good one there.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Ikbal.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome.
All right. And boy, I tell you, he has a wealth of knowledge there, and no pun intended, but I would, we got so much we got to get going on here. The verdict got dropped on the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Do you have is there anything else you want to get into real quick before we start digging into that?
Do I? That's a good question. That's a very good question.
That's a bad answer.
Well, I just before we get going, I do have a tweet that I found before we get deeply into it regarding this is Janice Huff at Left Coast Babe. She put this out. A simple question. If the situation was so dangerous on August 25th, 2020 in Kenosha, how come the only 3 people shot all night were shot by Kyle Rittenhouse?
It's a very, very, very legitimate question.
Just asking. Just asking.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I tell you.
Well, let's stop for a second. For those of you who didn't get the news, Kyle Rittenhouse was found not guilty on all charges.
All the counts, yep.
To say there was not a collective gasp around this nation would be understating it. I found out, I got the news. I was driving somebody from Long Island back into New York City, and she got the news alert on her phone. And she told me, and I honestly wanted to pull the van over and just punch something. I mean, I think we all know where we're going to go with this. Why? First off, is a 17-year-old. You traveled across 3 counties, across state lines by your mother, who by all means should be in jail herself. Because what do I think when I see a kid with an AR-15 strapped across his back? Oh, thank God! The medic is here.
Yeah.
He could have just as easily been running around. What do you have? 2 Band-Aids and a piece of rope.
Well, he was wearing rubber gloves, so we'll give him those props.
Well, there you go. Well, that solves it for me. Have we not considered the fact that, again, he shouldn't have been there? First and foremost, because what do we hear all the time when a young African American kid gets killed? Oh, he shouldn't have been there. Well, Kyle Rittenhouse certainly shouldn't have been there. Certainly should not have been carrying a weapon. And I know John's got a bunch of stuff up here. He wants to put out.
I snuck one up here while you were sleeping. I snuck one in here that I think is actually very important, and it might actually sum up a lot of the other little ones that I put up. So this is from Midas Touch. And I want you to give this a look and a listen, if you would, please.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Kyle H. Rittenhouse, not guilty.
So there you have it. Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old who crossed state lines, shooting at 3 protesters and killing 2 of them, not guilty on all counts. Is this a travesty of justice? Absolutely. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. And it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. And it's okay to just be so numb to it all, because this is what we have come to expect of the American justice system. Now, we've already covered this trial extensively, so let's dig into the fallout and what this verdict actually means for America. Because Kyle Rittenhouse in this trial is the symptom of a much larger problem in our country. Make no mistake, the radicalization of the right wing brought us to where we are today. Their obsession with guns, the dehumanization of their political opponents, turning those with whom they disagree into enemies. And now this verdict has given the green light to other would-be vigilantes. How many people will now show up at protests and rallies armed to the teeth, looking for confrontation, looking for violence and bloodshed, because they know that the color of their skin and their political leanings will shield them from any real consequences? And not only will they not face consequences, but half the country will hail them as heroes. The bigger the body count, the better. As of this taping, at least 3 Republican congressmen have already offered Kyle Rittenhouse congressional internships. And immediately after the verdict was announced, Madison Cawthorn posted a video encouraging his followers to be armed and dangerous.
Kyle Rittenhouse is not guilty, my friends. You have a right to defend yourselves. Be armed, be dangerous, and be moral.
Governor Abbott of Texas celebrated the verdict as well, which is no surprise considering that you could draw a direct line from Rittenhouse to SB 8, the barbaric Texas law, which deputizes citizens en masse to put bounties on the heads of those who provide or receive abortion services. This week, the stark differences between our 2 major political parties were presented before us clear as day. The Republicans spent all week making and defending death threats against Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, vowing revenge over Representative Gosar's censure, applauding a young man who killed 2 people, and throwing tantrums on the House floor. At the same time, Democrats signed into law an infrastructure bill that upgrades our roads and bridges and high-speed internet, and passed the bill in the House that lowers the cost of prescription drug prices, caps the price of insulin at $35 a month, provides affordable child care, provides universal pre-K for the first time in America's history, and more, all while lowering the deficit. Listen, Democrats aren't perfect, but I never want to hear that both parties are the same ever again. We're currently at a defining moment in our country, and as we head into 2022, we're going to have to answer some real questions. Who are we? What do we stand for? We've got less than a year to figure it out.
And we want to thank Midas Touch for bringing us that piece of information.
I can honestly say, after listening to that, I've got nothing else to say.
Pretty much summed things up, didn't it?
It pretty much summed it up for me. We're in for trouble. I guess it is good to be a white guy, John.
Yeah, that's a scary. That is a scary thought, and it's very sad.
It's very scary, and to think that we have elected officials who are cheering this on, and I am more and more convinced that my decision to never vote Republican again is just, I mean, it's just solidified day after day after day. Take the Rittenhouse verdict. You can take Baby McCarthy on the House floor for 8 or 9 hours, whining because the other idiot Gosar puts out this video that I promise you, if a Democrat had put it out, they'd be storming the Capitol. Oops, I'm sorry, they've already done that.
We'll look at the comparison right away, right off the top. They talked about Kathy Griffin and the mock of Trump's head.
Huge difference.
Yeah,
Huge. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things is right off the top is Kathy Griffin. She's a comedian. She's a how do you say it? Satirist, or I
He's a
can't.
comedian.
Comedian.
So
And
here's the easier question, John. Is she an elected official?
absolutely not. You
Well, there
know,
you
and Gosar, the Gosarian, is supposedly an elected official, and this is it's unacceptable. And yet it's just and who was it? McCarthy. McCarthy said, "Oh well, geez, when the Republicans take over in 2023, well, those two will be back. They'll be back on different assignments,
even better ones. Even better ones.
Even better ones. Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
So let's because this is absolutely what on topic of what we're discussing, and you never get enough of AOC as far as I'm concerned. So here's AOC. I don't want to say she's defending herself, but this is at that same House session. Let's take a listen. And look, she looks wonderful in that dress, by the way.
What I believe is unprecedented is for a member of House leadership of either party to be unable to condemn incitement of violence against a member of this body. It is sad. It is a sad day in which a member who leads a political party in the United States of America cannot bring themselves to say that issuing a depiction of murdering a member of Congress is wrong, and instead decides to venture off into a tangent about gas prices and inflation. What is so hard? What is so hard about saying that this is wrong? This is not about me. This is not about Representative Gosar, but this is about what we are willing to accept. Not just the Republican leader, but I have seen other members of this party advance the argument, including Representative Gosar himself, the illusion that this was just a joke.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Just a joke.
Right, and that's what. How many times do we hear that during the 4 years of the Cheeto in charge? Oh, we were just joking. It's just a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Some things aren't that funny.
Yeah, and let somebody on the other side. Even you don't see, for one thing, you don't see politicians on the other side doing that. Quite frankly, you never see Bernie Sanders or any of them. Never see any of them stooping to that level, just trying to draw, draw a chuckle from their base. They just don't do it. They leave that kind of nonsense up to guys like us.
Yeah, but John, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's not intended as a joke. But that's just their fallback. Oh, we were just kidding around. I mean, we've all heard that in our lives from some bully or some nitwit. And then when it comes to, well, they may have to answer for it. Oh, I was just kidding around. What's the matter? You can't take a joke? And then once again, you're the bad guy because you can't take a joke. Well, we all know there's nothing funny about all this stuff. And again, shoes on the other foot, good gravy. They'll be storming the Capitol. Oops, I'm sorry. Again, they've already done that.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to bring one other point up, if I could, with the Rittenhouse trial. Actually, there's a couple things, but this one come up at the top of my head. As it was pointed out to me on social media that two of the victims, especially Joseph Rosenbaum, wasn't exactly what you would call a stellar citizen in his own right. There are actually, it's not even allegations. He was convicted of all things. He was convicted of child rape. And listen, I want to address the thought that somehow that justified his killing. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to be flat honest with you. If I walked in on Joseph Rosenbaum, by the way, this was 20 years ago almost. If I had walked in on him 20 years ago and walked in on him while he was raping a child, I'd have killed him myself. Make no bones about that. But again, we go back to Rittenhouse, who took his little tour or took his little ride up to Kenosha. He didn't know Gage Grossenkutz or Joseph Rosenbaum or Anthony Huber. He didn't know any of these people. Didn't know any of their backgrounds. He didn't know anything about that. And yet 2 of these individuals are dead now. So for those of you who think that, hey, that was, Rittenhouse just took out the trash, stick that up your ass, man, because he had no idea who these people were. This was some punk kid who thought he was some redneck Rambo walking the streets of Kenosha there with his AR-15, and shit got real for him. That's all that happened. He panicked, and he wound up killing 2 people and seriously injuring a third. So should he should have been found guilty. There were enough charges to find him guilty. This whole trial was a complete sham, for one thing. From what little I followed of it, Jesus, the damn judge is posing for pictures with him, for crying out. This was, yeah.
Well, I think, look, I'll buy into the scenario that the judge, while many people have said this is how he generally operates and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in the back of his head he was doing some of these little things too, just in case there needed to be, in case they took it to what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I can't think of it now, where you get another shot at the trial. Oh, I can't. Starts with an A. I can't think of the name of it. Anyway, the word is escaping me right now. It'll come back to me in an hour or two, I'm sure.
Of course, sure.
But he was laying the groundwork in case he was found guilty, and they tried for that second bite at the apple.
Tried for the appeal. That's
appeal. That's the word I'm looking for. That's the word. He's like, thank you, John. You're a wonderful human being.
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, right now I would. I'll take it back, but I'm sure you'll prove yourself otherwise. But yeah, he's setting it up for the appeal. I wouldn't be surprised. Let me just put it that way. But of course, there is no appeal now. The prosecution only gets one bite at the apple. Now, but what there still stands to come, and I promise you it's on the way, is the civil trial, where the families of those killed and injured will sue Kyle Rittenhouse and his mom and anybody else they can think of. Because remember, that's how they got OJ. Because the difference in a criminal trial, you have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. In a civil trial, it's just the preponderance of evidence. And while Kyle Rittenhouse will not go to jail for this, as many have predicted, he'll probably become a cop, and he's just warming up.
He just got his training.
Yeah.
Who's breathing a sigh of relief right now?
Who?
Well, one Gregory and Travis McMichael.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Who have pretty much said, was it the Travis one? Pretty much said, oh, do I have that? Oh, I thought I had that. Where the prosecutor asked him a bunch of questions like, did he have a knife? No. Did he have a gun? No. Did he have his hands in his pockets? No. Did he take anything out of his pocket? No. Did he make any threatening moves? No. What did he do? He ran. That's all he did. I mean, yeah, right now, different juries, different peoples, different states, different part of the country. But again, I know, I can't imagine what's going to happen if these two these three knuckleheads are let loose, I mean, you talk about a travesty. My God, it's bad enough. It's bad enough what happened up in Wisconsin. So,
well, like it was like they said in the Midas Touch video there. It's now open season. You are going to see vigilantism running wild in this country.
Right.
I guarantee you, because now all of a sudden there is no, it's proven. And this is just going to be what this case is now we've had a precedent, Wisconsin versus Kyle Rittenhouse. Every time some redneck Rambo decides he's going to shoot somebody because he thinks he's taking the place of law enforcement. And that's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Although don't be surprised. And I caught some Twitter steam on this early last week. Holy buckets, did I start a little poo-poo storm when I said that don't be surprised if there isn't some street justice administered here.
Oh, yes, you did catch some grief now, didn't you?
I stand by it. Not that I'm going to be the one doing it. No. I wasn't making a veiled threat at anybody. I was making an observation that, and it is true. He's from what I've seen, Rittenhouse has already faced death threats. Look, I don't advocate anything like that. Like the president said, as much as bad as of a taste as it left, the fact of the matter is that the jury made their decision. We have to stick by it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that people who are enraged about this aren't going to cause some problems.
Hang on one second, John.
Yeah. Well, look, I stand by what the jury has concluded. The jury system works, and we have to abide by it.
Yeah.
Just that we had it.
Exactly. Yeah. Why did I download all those videos if we don't use them? Huh? Oh no, seriously though, I am not looking forward to the next couple of years, because this is definitely opened up a can, and all I can hope for is that the jury that's hearing this trial for the McMichaels and for William Bryan, the other guy that was actually filming all this, hopefully that jury has a little bit more common sense, but I assume nothing at this point in time.
Right. Let's do a little palate cleanser here. Our good pal, your good pal, Shaletta Brundage has you want to explain her connection there with Hy-Vee, which is a regional supermarket up in your part of the woods?
Well, our friend Shaletta, she doesn't just talk a good game. She delivers by all means. When she had heard that there were churches and neighborhood organizations who generally hand out Thanksgiving meals this time of year, when she heard that this was going to be a problem, she got a hold of Hy-Vee, and Hy-Vee it is becoming one of the more popular regional grocery chains up in this area here. They are definitely overtaking the other retailers here, and because, quite frankly, they are an appealing shopping option without being totally nutso with prices. So,
and we have a little video. So why don't we play that? And we can talk a little bit more about Hy-Vee on the other side.
Sure.
Today we are donating 230 turkeys and 20 chickens. Let's get today going.
Yeah, we are just so thankful that Hy-Vee was asked to participate with this turkey event, and we feel that we're an important part of this community, and we're just thankful that we are here.
It feels fantastic to work with Hy-Vee. The people at Hy-Vee are wonderful. They delivered the food, and everything I ordered is right here behind me. All the food is delivered for 250 baskets. We give out 230 turkeys and 20 roasted chickens. And the community has already signed up. We've got over 260 people signed up for 250 spots. So right now, all we have to do is put the baskets together, which that's going to happen tonight with about 20 volunteers. And we'll do that tonight. And once we do that, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we'll have this all ready to go and give the turkeys and the baskets out. The impact on the community is serving 250 families in the community within the North Minneapolis area for Thanksgiving baskets.
Our buddy Shaletta Brundage, along with Hy-Vee, Shaletta knocked on the door, and Hy-Vee responded. So kudos to both Shaletta and Hy-Vee for stepping up there.
Well, that makes you feel a little good. It warms the cockles of your heart, doesn't it? With all the nonsense that's going on around us these days, it's one of the nice things about this time of year is to see folks getting involved. And let's remember, folks, Shaletta has an issue or two of her own she has to deal with on a daily basis. She's got some weight on her shoulders, and yet finds the time and finds the energy to be a positive influence on her community, to which I say, bravo, young lady, bravo. But we're still waiting for pancakes here on Sunday morning, so you're not completely off the hook.
You see, that's just, I'm only, as the crow flies, I'm about 10 miles away from her.
That is correct.
And so I will make sure, I'll bet she'll bring some pancakes one of these days. Or maybe when the weather will get nice, she'll let me do a remote from her front yard. I doubt that I doubt that I will ever make it inside the palatial Brundage estate or anything like that. But because she don't let anybody use the bathroom there, so I'm SOL when it comes to that.
Oh well, you're S something. That's your S has got to go somewhere else. There's no question about that.
When I do the remote from her front yard, I'll also have to rent a porta potty there to go along. Yeah.
Just bring a 5-gallon bucket from Home Depot. Oh,
ooh. By the way, 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428 is the number if you'd like to join in on this conversation.
As we careen it to the end of the first hour here.
We careen like an Uber driver down a flight of stairs.
That's what I would have liked to have asked him about. But they're doing traffic signals these days. They're off the roofs, apparently. They've figured out how to avoid the stairs, but...
and that old sat nav is starting to kick in.
Hey, what's coming up in hour 2, John?
The John and Ed versus mediocrity is coming up. We'll be back, believe it or not. You're listening to the Taxi Stand Hour on Radio TFI.
TFI.
You found the Taxi Stand Hour.
The worst talk radio I've ever heard in my life.
On Radio TFI.
Join the conversation. You can reach the guys at 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428, on Twitter at Taxi Stand Hour. From a payphone, call collect.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Here's your microphone and oh gosh, this is Miss Grundy, the lady I told you about from Standards and Practices, you know.
Say what?
The censor, remember?
Oh, listen, this man will take care of you. You know what to say.
I'll be watching Mr. Stevenson.
Hello, everyone. This is your Action News reporter with all the news that is news across the nation. On the scene at the supermarket. There seems to have been some disturbance here. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. I was just standing over there by the tomatoes, and here he come, running through the pole beans, through the fruits and veggies, naked as a jaybird. Ethel's over there in the jams, jellies, preserves, and pickles. I hollered over there. I said, "Don't look, Ethel!" She dropped a whole jar of kumquats and fell back into the sweet midget cider. It was too late. She'd done been incensed.
Here he comes.
Boogie-dad, boogie-dad.
Here he goes.
Boogie-dad, boogie-dad.
And he ain't wearing no clothes.
Well, yes, they call him the street. That's the thing on 2 feet. He's just as proud as he can be of his anatomy. He gon' give us a peek. Well, yes, they call him the street. Like to show off his physique. If there's an audience to be found, he'll be speaking it round, inviting public critique.
Hello, once again, everyone. Your Action News reporter on the scene at the gas station. There seems to have been some disturbance here. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. I was just in here trying to get some air in my car there, and he disappeared out of the traffic. Come streaking around the grease strike there, didn't have nothing on but a smile. Ethel's in there getting her a cold drink. I hollered in there, I said, "Don't look, Ethel!" Too late, she done been moved. Flashed her right there in front of the shock absorbers. Boogie-dad, boogie-dad. A boogie-dad, boogie-dad.
He's just on the mood to run in the news.
Well, yes, they call him the street. Like to turn the other cheek. He's always making the news, wearing just his tennis shoes. Guess you could call him unique.
Hello, once again, everyone. Your Action News reporter in the booth at the gym, covering the disturbance at the basketball playoff. Pardon me, sir. Did you see what happened?
Yeah, I did. It's halftime. I just going down there to get Ethel a snow cone. Here he comes, right out of the cheap seats. Right down the middle of the court there, didn't have nothing on but his high-top Reeboks. He was dribbling, made a jump shot, and got out through the concession. I hollered up at Ethel, I said, "Don't look, Ethel!" Too late, she done got a free shot. Grandstanded her right there in front of the home team. Oh, yes, they call him the street. Whoa, here he comes again. That's the thing. Who's that with? Ethel? Is that you, Ethel? Where do you think you're going? Of his anatomy. You get your clothes on. Oh, yes, they call him the street. Ethel, you break show off his feet. If there's an audience to be found, you'll be streaking it around.
Okay, crew, let's go. Let's get the 18
You know,
miles.
absolutely. Everyone, this was especially.
Well, once again, Mr. Stevens, you have managed to, pardon the expression, barely stay within the bounds of what is permissible.
Yeah, I did.
Ethel, you shameless hussy. Very good. But I get a feeling that people who are listening to the replay on this on YouTube and maybe even on Facebook probably won't hear that last.
Will not see or hear that, and we knew that, but it just kind of I stumbled over it the other day and the song too, and I said, why not? Why not? Apropos of nothing, Ray Stevens and the Streak, and if you weren't alive and around in the 70s, boy, oh boy. There was actually a streaker at the Academy Awards. Elizabeth Taylor was speaking, and the fellow.
I thought you were going to say Elizabeth Taylor was streaking.
No, I'm sorry. It was David Niven. David Niven was presenting.
And Elizabeth Taylor was streaking?
No. Forget Elizabeth Taylor. I don't know why I brought her up. I hate that bitch.
Oh!
I know that's harsh, but I'm probably the only person on the planet that does dislike her greatly. I mean,
I could care less one way or another, to be honest with you.
I don't believe that. I honestly don't believe that.
Well, too bad. It is true.
It is true.
Oh goodness! Tell you, we still got a bunch of stuff we have to unpack here yet in hour number 2. We still have a full bag of chips we haven't.
We do.
Opened up. Oh my goodness! Talking about the pandemic and the people that are still in denial about the pandemic, including right up here in my neck of the woods. So we got all that coming up here. But guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It is time. It's that time.
It is that time.
It's that time.
Which time?
It is time where we show just how useless we really are this year. Hits on a board comes to mind.
It's time for John and Ed versus the Spread. Your weekly foray into the exciting world of pigskin prognostication. I got it. Each week, John, throw the replay flag, Shannon, Gerald the computer wears tennis shoes, and I will each choose professional football games and select winners using the point spread. At the end of the season, the winner will claim possession of the Radio TFI Gilchrist Ceremonial Sippy Cup. Extra points can be earned by going for it with a 2 or 3 point conversion, if we have the noive. Ladies and gentlemen, kids and kittens, it's John and Ed versus the Spread. Well. Let's get ourselves set up here as we look at last week's the current score. Excuse me, it's not looking good if you're a fictional character. If you have real life skin and bones and all that, you're not doing too bad. You're not doing too bad.
What? This has been suckalicious since week 1. This has been brutal.
You think so, huh?
It has been brutal. The fact that we're only 3 points up on an inanimate object, we're not setting that bar too high there, my friend.
Well, we never really have we? So anyway, John and I are tied at 13 right now, 13 big points. And meanwhile, Gerald, the computer who wears tennis shoes, is stuck at a paltry 10 as we continue on here. And don't forget, we have bonus games coming up this week. We will choose the Thanksgiving games, all 3 of us, and we'll report on that next Sunday. We won't do it now. We don't have the point spreads. We don't have the lines. But what do you say? Let's move on to. Let's take a look at what happened last week. Oh my goodness. John Shannon picked up one point. He went for 2 with the Steelers versus Detroit. Who'd have guessed Detroit would score 16 points? Pittsburgh would only score 16 points. John gave up 16 points. Boy, what a that must have stung John.
Oh, the lie downs forgot to lie down.
Green Bay hosted Seattle, and shockingly, Seattle scored Epis, nothing. John got that one correct. And once again, should have gone with the home team. Forget the point spread. The Vikings outright beat the Chargers. I just missed it. Tennessee and New Orleans. Oh, that was a 3-point game, and they only won by 2, so I didn't get that one. But I did Jacksonville and Indianapolis, and Carolina. Carolina whooped up on Arizona last week, so I picked up 2 big points.
That one really surprised me.
Yeah, me too. Gerald just nothing. 0 epis, nada, nothing. He picked the Jets. Tampa Bay got hornswoggled by the Washington football team. And again, he picked Pittsburgh, just like John did. And and he got nothing. So that's where we stand. John 13, me 13, and Gerald with a big goose egg. I'm sorry, with 10. Let's look at this week's picks. John, why don't we start with you? As always, start with your first pick.
First pick, once again, I'm picking on the Detroit Lie Downs. This time they're playing a road game against them dogs in Cleveland. So Cleveland's a 12-point favorite. I'm going to take the Brownies giving up 12.
All right, for my first pick, I am taking the same exact game, only I'm taking the Lie Downs. I think they've got just enough in them. And Cleveland's been playing not so great, not so horrible, but I think Detroit can lose by less than 12 points this week. I don't think they can win, but I think they can certainly lose by less than 12.
Wow.
All right. And Gerald, let's start with you, your first pick.
Good morning, gentlemen. Are we doing this again? I am not certain that I am up to the task. Based on the past few weeks. Well, here goes nothing. The Buffalo Bills host the Indianapolis Colts. Give me the Bills and I'll give you 7 points.
All right. John, your second pick?
Well.
What do we have here?
I don't remember picking this game because how the hell would I ever wound up picking the Miami Dolphins to actually win a game by more than a point?
Because they're playing the JETS, Jets.
That's what it is. I forgot. That's it. So, yes, the Dolphins are traveling to New York City.
Yeah. And Ed gets to watch them.
Yeah. The only fear that I have is that they're leaving that tropical climate down in Miami to come up there to New Jersey, technically. To play the Jets. I'm going to take the Dolphins giving up 3.5 points. God help me.
Remember, the Dolphins are playing very well. They won 2 games in 4 days. They whooped up on Baltimore. I'm just concerned that they've had too long of a break now.
Yeah.
Since that Thursday night game. My second pick, the San Francisco 49ers. Niners! Versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm taking the Niners giving up 5.5 points in the northeast corner of the state of Florida. Gerald, who do you got?
I don't feel good about my next pick at all. Cincinnati goes to Vegas, baby, to play the Raiders. I'm taking the Bengals and giving up 1 point. I am praying to Gil Christ for this one.
He's on bent knee praying to Gil Christ. No, Gil, go back to sleep, Gil. It's not a thing. John, your final pick.
It's let's never mind.
No, it's not. Just keep going.
So, anyways,
don't ruin the magic.
The Vikings are hosting the Green Bay Packers in what we're calling up here the game of the century. For really, we just think that this is the next coming of. Well, it is the next coming of Aaron Rodgers, but other than that, it's another football game. And I think the Packers probably look at it that way. But you know what? Minnesota's the home team. They're favored by a point. I think they might have a little mo after last week in San Diego. So I'm going to take the Vikings getting 1 point.
By the way, they did not play in San Diego.
Oh, they didn't, did they?
No, they didn't. And they will not in the near future.
All
right, my final pick.
At least for the next 20 years.
My final pick, the Baltimore Ravens, who the aforementioned Miami Dolphins whooped up on a week and a half ago. The defense was just amazing. I mean, and I don't rant about my defense that often, but boy, oh boy, did they keep the Ravens in check. It was beautiful to watch. But they go visit the Bears in Chicago. Based on what I saw a week and a half ago down in South Florida, I'm taking the Bears +5 over the Baltimore Ravens. And finally, Gerald, what do you got for your third and final pick of the week?
Finally, I feel I cannot go wrong with this selection. Mr. Shannon has opted to not pick his hometown Kansas City Chiefs today. I'll give up 2.5 points to the Dallas Cowboys. Go Chefs. Great googly moogly.
Well, he called you out by name there, John.
Well, good for him.
All right, just to recap here, John Shannon, he likes my Cleveland Brownies giving up 12 points hosting the Detroit Lions. Once again, he likes my Miami Dolphins giving up 3.5 points visiting the New York Jets right up here in the greater metropolitan New York City area. Finally, he goes with his home team, Minnesota Vikings, getting 1 big point, which would have helped them. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't have helped them last week. Green Bay visits the frozen tundra of, was it Target Field?
U.S. Bank Stadium.
That's the one.
That's
Picks.
The one that has a dome on it, by the way.
It does have a dome.
Yes.
Or it doesn't. You play outside.
No.
You play outside now.
No. Well, they do have a window that opens on one side of the field.
Do you mind? I'm doing a thing here.
Yeah, well, do you, boo.
My picks, I am taking the Detroit Lions and giving up 12 points. John and I are going head to head. One was going to win, one was going to lose on this game. And I'm also I suppose. Thanks for ruining my momentum twice. San Francisco visits Jacksonville. I'm taking the Niners, giving up 5.5 points. Baltimore goes to Chicago. I'm taking the Bears +5 points over the inept Ravens, at least based on what we saw in South Florida last week. Gerald likes the Bills, giving up 7 points. He over those visiting Indianapolis Colts. He likes Cincinnati giving up a point, going to Vegas, baby. And finally, because John dropped the ball and did not take his Kansas City Chefs, great googly moogly, Gerald has jumped on board, giving up 2.5 points against the visiting Dodgers. Dallas.
That's a Monday night game, is it not?
I don't think so. No, the Giants are playing Tampa on Monday night. That might be the Sunday night game. That might be tonight's game. All right.
I didn't pick that. I think it was because I wanted to get all my picks nicely packaged and
may I conclude the bit?
Yeah, well, when I'm done talking, sure can.
Oh, well, okay.
I wanted to point out one other thing, if I could, with that. We're going to find out. We're going to find out for sure with this Baltimore Chicago game if the Dolphins were just that good, or if the Ravens just really suck that hard.
Absolutely correct. All that being said, that concludes John and Ed versus the spread for this week. As we always say, if you're using your own money to use our picks to bet on these games, John, what do we always say?
I guess go to Iowa.
Go to Iowa. I don't get it, but go to Iowa. Thanks, everybody. Well,
legalize sports betting in Iowa.
Well. That boy Gerald is. I'm surprised Gerald did not go for 2 or 3 on a couple of those. Actually, I'm not surprised, but
he's starting to when he feels that he is a computer who is miraculously programmed, all the technology in the world there behind him, and he can't beat us two schlubs. If I tell you, if he truly had tennis shoes, I think he'd be considering jumping off a bridge right now.
Well, remember, they are random picks.
Oh, come on, you're taking away all the.
I know. No, we've explained this. We're not pulling any curtains back on this one. It's random picks, and he doesn't pick any games that we've picked. Last week was a fluke, and turned out it bit him in the butt, just like it bit you. Who'd have thunk it was going to be a tie?
Oh no, first time this year, right?
First one. It used to be you would go years, decades without a tie. Now we're getting. It seems like last year there were 2, at least 2, maybe 3 ties. But it seems like we're getting at least 1 a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the new overtime rules instituted a few years back, where you get 1 final period to play, and that's it. It's over. It's done. And see you later. Bye. Just briefly staying with sports for a second, the New York Islanders of hockey opened up their brand new arena last night. And at Belmont Park. I saw it during construction. Looks nice. They played in the Nassau Coliseum for like 100 million years, which is almost literally halfway out on the length of Long Island. Hence the name, the Islanders. They were put out there for the Long Island folks. The new arena is a whole lot closer into New York City. It's in a different part. But I saw it on the news last night. Of course, it's a brand spanking new arena. They just took the plastic off. Looks nice. And interesting side note, they played the Calgary Flames last night and lost. And as it turns out, when they opened the Nassau Coliseum in 1972, when the Islanders were an expansion team, their very first game in the Coliseum, they lost to the Atlanta Flames. Thanks, John. Thanks for going in there and just ruining that for me. It wasn't a guessing game.
I thought you were saying a little trivia there with me.
No. I would have said, "Hey, John, who do you think they lost to in their very first game at the Coliseum?" And you would have said, "What's hockey?"
No. I wouldn't go that far.
Ay, caramba. I tell you what, there are days.
They're just days. I thought it was weeks, to be honest with you.
What? All right, we got some. We got some stuff to get to. We've got. I like this one. There was a teacher in somewhere. She had been there for 35 years, and she was shown the front door the other day. I'm going to play this clip for you. Take a listen. Have your Kleenex ready. And
Marlene, why are you leaving the school today?
I was told that I didn't have the vaccine and I didn't comply to rapid testing, so my day is short.
How long have you worked at this school for?
More years.
Because you were a teacher and now you stick around because you love the kids so much.
I do.
And what school district is this?
Black Gold, and I have enjoyed every minute of the kids. Every minute.
You can say you've worked here for 20, 30 plus years?
30 plus, getting close to 35. But, yeah, so I turn my keys in, and my time is done.
We're very sorry.
Thank you.
I love those kids so much. Not only did I refuse to get a vaccine, I won't even agree to get tested a couple of times a week to protect the children that I say I love. I'm sorry. God bless you for doing 35 years as a teacher. Not an easy job. But please, you're not even, even if I buy whatever nonsense you have for not getting the vaccine, maybe you have underlying health issues. Okay, that's all fine and well. but you refuse to get tested at the rapid test. Why? Why are you refusing to get tested? There's no, and then you're surprised you're showing crocodile tears because you refuse to protect the children you proclaim to love so much. What happens if you get infected and you're asymptomatic? What about all your little kids that you love so much? This country is populated with idiots. Actually, the whole world, but especially this country. We're populated with idiots.
Yeah. Yeah. I as far as the crocodile tears, say she gets the Rittenhouse Award for crocodile tears on that one. Look, like you said, I can only echo what you said. God bless her for hanging in there and being a teacher for as long as she had. But the rules are the rules. I'm sorry, and it isn't. The sad part about this is we're not asking her to, strip down to her bloomers and streak down the hallway here or anything like that. We're not even requiring that she necessarily even gets the vaccination.
But at least
her age, at her age, she probably should. But at least test. But no, these people get so pig-headed because that violates my freedom. That violates my freedom. So does a goddamn stoplight. So does seatbelt laws.
Mm-hmm.
So do half the damn laws we follow in this country. The reason these laws are written, and they're not always good laws. Don't get me wrong here. There are probably some flaws with the vaccination procedure and everything. Let's face it. This damn virus blindsided us all. Except for a few scientists who saw this coming, the general population was blindsided by this whole thing. So yes, there has been some trial. There has been some error. We are learning from this. Damn it. But this whole thing, it's my freedom. It's my freedom. I don't have to do this. You know what? I totally agree with the school district. If it's their rule that says that you have to get a vaccination or you have to test, then damn it, if you want to work for that district, then you need to do it. It's just for safety's sake. And I don't believe this gobbledygook that she loves her students so bad and she loved the little kiddies. Well,
Jesus loves the little children, all little children of the world. They are yellow, black, and white. They are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Again, another Ray Stevens callback.
And I think the Catholic Church probably took that one step too far.
Hey now. Remember, I was raised Catholic. I got over it, but
I was baptized Catholic too. So
let's see what else. Oh, the Q shaman was sentenced this week.
Yes, he was.
Whatever the hell his name is, he's got 41 months in the Hoosgow. So a little over 3 years, 3.5 years there, give or take. Now, what's going to be hilarious is that this guy is supposedly on some special diet. He doesn't eat this. He has to be in this kind. You know what? You're going to learn a long, hard lesson, pal. Because guess what? You decided you were going to play dress up and go march through the U.S. Capitol and put yourself in a position of power where you stood up behind the desk up there with the gavel and you were just being all king shit. Well, guess what? They're going to show you. They're going to show you just what it's like. You're not going to be the king anymore, but I promise you, you'll be a queen to somebody.
Yeah. He will definitely be a prison bitch. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's a purty mouth you got there, boy. And you'll eat what they give you to eat. Okay. And your delicate constitution. Well, guess what? You had the energy and whatnot to go prancing around the Capitol. And by the way, he's been all over it wasn't just the Capitol thing. He's been all over. I remember seeing him, and videos for other, stupid stuff. And this was just, who was it? Somebody said he was brainwashed. Let me play this clip real fast.
Insidious part, Tucker, he was submitted to, and he did submit to some type of brainwashing. I mean, they have made all of these January 6th defendants essentially repent from any beliefs they ever had and echo critical race theory ideas, read the right books, and tell a judge they apologize for everyone and everything they've ever been. It's really gross, and it's a violation of due process, and it's just a violation of our sense of justice.
That's right. They're all brainwashed. That's what we're doing. When we go off the air on Sundays at noon Eastern time, I run down to my local brainwash center, and we conduct these. It doesn't take long. I'm back in time for football. I know John does it too up there in the Midwest, and we're all about brainwashing people like the Q Shaman. Come on, give me a effing break. And I can't hold off anymore. We haven't even cracked the bag of chips now, have we?
No. Listen, before you do, I wanted to bring along one other note here from when it comes to the correctional institutes of our country, and some good news here. Apparently, the state of Oklahoma has granted clemency to Julius Jones, who was nearing execution there for a murder that there was some question whether or not he was the guilty party in. And good on Oklahoma. I honestly, I have thought long and hard about this, as far as whenever there's any shadow of a doubt when it comes to the death penalty, when you're going to administer the death penalty, man, you better be damn certain that this is the guilty party. I am not really in favor of the death penalty. I do, however, understand why they have it, but damn it, be more than sure if you're going to another life.
Well, the death penalty being vile and as nasty as it can be reminds me of something who we haven't heard from all week.
Ted Cruz, go fuck yourself.
I just felt the urge to play that. We should play that at least once a week. That may be the new open on the hour 2. We'll see about that. We'll have a conversation. But what do you say we crack open a bag of chips?
Let's crack the chips, my friend.
That Representative Paul Gosar of Arizona be censured.
Censured? Paul Gosar should be expelled. He continues to threaten the lives of AOC and Biden.
No, I'm just getting warmed up.
While Matt Gaetz isn't dating 15-year-old girls,
But you know what?
he's promising Kyle Rittenhouse a job as an intern.
Moments later, shots ring out.
Sake, dude.
Cable of Satan-worshipping pedophiles.
Marjorie Taylor Greene believes 9/11 was a false flag.
I'm very excited about that.
And that someone named Q will save America.
Q is anonymous.
She was also behind the insurrection.
I'll fight even harder to stop them.
Lauren Beaupart from Colorado.
Don't come knocking on my door with your Fauci outie.
Her husband exposed himself to teenage girls.
Kind of a game of whack-a-mole.
And she was arrested for disorderly conduct.
They are terrified of me and people like me.
When she wasn't trying to have Pelosi tracked down and killed at the Capitol. On January the 6th, Jim Jordan was on the phone all morning with Trump, while McCarthy stood up to him, then tucked back his junk and knelt before the tumor.
To the Capitol.
Expel them all, every single one.
Damn right.
I actually agree with you.
Bitch, you're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
It's a revolution, man. She should say man at the end of that.
So it just dawned on me here during the week. I had a little bit more spare time on my hands, so these idle thoughts come drifting through every now and then.
How scary is that?
That is very scary. But it dawned on me that old Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert make another individual look actually sane. And that individual I'm speaking of is Sarah Palin.
I can see Russia from my house.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, these two make her look like Sarah Palin look like she's actually normal. But that's
very scary.
And you know what the worst part about it is what's next.
Yeah.
What's next? I mean, Boebert and Green, they've kind of, and along with their other cohorts like Gozar, the Gozarian, and a few others, are starting to make this stuff look normal.
Right.
What's
Well,
that?
I think Green will definitely be voted out. Remember, she ran unopposed,
Right.
and so
Well,
I think
Marcus
she's as good as
Flowers.
right. Or of course, your option is always vote Ed. Ed will take any congressional seat in any district in any state. One term and out. I'm in it for the benefits. Use me as a write-in candidate. Vote Ed. Keeping it real simple for everybody. My name is 2 letters, then 3 letters, then 4 letters. Ed Van Ness. We got a while. We got a while yet, but if nobody else appeals to you, I'm not running on the Democratic Party or the Independent Party or the Republican Party. I'm running with the surprise party. So just keep that in mind, kittens.
Serve us some more chips.
Some more chips. Chips it is. Chips ahoy!
Voting irregular.
Where's Mike Pence?
Well, the people were very angry.
Trump wanted you hanged.
And you said you could be a patriot or you can be a Did you really say that, or? I wouldn't dispute it.
Did he just call you a pussy?
I can tell you that we parted amicably.
You were on the phone crying to Dan Quayle while you were peeing your pants. What kind of man does that?
I am proud to be here to endorse Donald Trump.
Remember that?
He lost to Joe Biden.
Now that Chris Christie wants to be president again, he's a big, tough guy.
Sit down and shut up.
But for 5 years, Trump dishonored our values, our nation, and frankly, Chris,
it's all talk.
You were his bitch. You know I'm right.
And I quite frankly don't care to be morally judged in the sewer that is Twitter.
Let the humiliation begin.
He is a coward.
Pence and Christie are like so many other Republicans who say they love America, but silently they support the tumor.
We have stupid people.
You're all weak, spineless traitors, and no one's forgetting.
Damn right.
I actually agree with you.
Bitch! We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
Now, speaking of Chris Christie, he is making the rounds right now. He wrote a book. He's on all the shows, and he appeared with Nicole Wallace, who has slowly but surely become one of my favorites. Nicole was the communications director for George W. Bush. She was a staunch Republican. She has now left the Republican Party. And so Christie's making the rounds, and people are only having them on because show bookers say things like, well, if you don't take Christie now, we won't give you X person later. So you got to take a you got to take a couple of bad ones to get the good ones. But this was very interesting. Pay close attention at the end of this little interchange.
Yeah, so I read that section carefully. But, you know, the book is called, it's about conspiracies and lies, and you really don't take on Fox News. Why not?
Look, because the book was
Tucker Carlson
because the book. No, I don't watch it, but the book.
Are you aware of what he does?
Not really. I don't pay a lot of attention to it.
It's a book with truth deniers, conspiracy theorists on the cover, and you attack CNN and the New York Times and MSNBC and not Fox.
But excuse me, I don't attack them as conspiracy theorists or truth deniers. I talk about bias.
And is bias more dangerous to the country than conspiracy theorists?
No, but that's the third section of the book,
where
I talk about the movement forward. In the center portion of the book, we talk about the conspiracy theories and the truth denying that went on with things like QAnon, Pizzagate, the election situation, John Birch Society. And that's what I talk about. There's 2 sections of the book, and I'm sure accidentally you're conflating them.
I'm not conflating them, but I don't think I don't think it's an intellectually honest case to make against conspiracy theories without taking on Fox News.
Well, listen, then you can write that in your book.
Well, I'm not trying to rescue the Republican Party.
Zing! When I first became aware, of Chris Christie, many years, pre-Trump days, I kind of liked him. I was living down in South Florida, so I really wasn't up on it. I saw him on a couple of talk shows. He seemed, decent enough. And of course, now it turns out he's a sniveling coward who, Trump bitch slapped him, and he just kept standing up and saying, "More, sir. May I have another? May I have another?" And, again, they won't take on their own. He likes to pretend he does, And she nailed it. Why didn't you take on Fox News? Oh, I don't watch that. I don't watch Tucker Carlson. You're not aware of it? No. I mean,
well, if you got to write a book about conspiracy theories, that would be the first stop right there. Would be Tucker Carlson
or Fox News in general. I mean,
well, yeah,
it's that felt good.
So anyway, we were watching Ed here scratching his back and
loving every minute of it.
Oh my God! Oh, you people that aren't listening on the Radidio here, and you're missing a treat here when you get to watch him use that back scratcher.
Did I show you this?
What the hell are you doing to yourself?
Yeah, the other day I was at the production office. So I had a bunch of stuff I was bringing back to the set out on Long Island. Mm-hmm. And I'm walking through the parking lot. My left foot hit a divot in the crappy parking lot that we have. I went down like a ton of bricks. My left knee hit first, so the play was called dead. Then my side, which is still a little sore. Nothing's broken, nothing. But I took about the first 2 layers of skin off my elbow, about that big around.
And it's like about the size of a $50.
About that. That is, and the first couple of bandages I had on it, we kept just putting a little adhesive at the edge. So every time I would take it off, it would start bleeding again. Now I've got one that's large enough to handle it. And but what was really amazing was the next day, I thought I would wake up sore, and I, just from falling on the ground, and because I am a delicate flower. Let's be real.
Yes, indeed.
But I felt fine otherwise. Now, if I flinch this thing on my side, I feel it, and sleeping's been a little. But I got sores from being in this van anyway. So, by the way, it is off from work beginning Wednesday. I'm off 6 days. I have been looking forward to this since July. And don't forget, kids and kittens, we will be making our Thanksgiving picks. We'll be doing that probably Wednesday. We'll have them up and available on Sunday. So it's actually like we're doing 2 sets of picks we are doing 2 sets of picks this week or next week, depending on how you look at it. Thursday of week 12.
Well, speaking of being off on Wednesday, I'm pretty much following. I mean, I'll kind of go through the motions on Wednesday myself, but I get to bring my car into the shop Wednesday afternoon.
Oh boy, because I'm sure the mechanics, that's where they want to be the day before Thanksgiving, is working on your car.
Well, they've been really packed. Well, first off, they stopped having Saturdays available for me now, which really, if that doesn't, I love these guys to death, but if I can't get my Saturdays back, but that notwithstanding, my beast pulled something on me that really surprised. And as an owner of many of Grand Caravans, you might actually be able to help me with this.
Bring it on, son. Bring it on.
So my what is it called? Traction control.
Yes.
Light.
Yes.
Warning light came on and is staying on, which wouldn't be a bad problem in itself. I could probably fix that, or get that fixed, and it is what it is. But when that comes on, it also has a nasty little feature of locking the shift lever into park.
Mm-hmm.
You can't shift it out of park with that. So I had found a little YouTube cheat to release the shifter, but now I basically have this object in the hole there, right above where the shift lever is.
I know exactly where you're talking about. Now,
every time I go to try, hold on just one second. Every time I got to take it out of park, I have to push his object down, hit the shift lever, bring it into the gear I want, and I'm on my way.
Now, here's the first stupid question. Did you check the button, the traction control button?
Well, I don't know. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did.
It's the one next to the Echo thing.
Yeah.
Because as often as not, that will get pushed accidentally. Does that button turn off? Does it?
Well, the button doesn't. It doesn't. When I go to push that button, it doesn't do anything. There's no. It doesn't light.
All right. It doesn't light up at all.
Yeah.
Okay. The most likely scenario is that you've blown that fuse.
Lucky fuse, I guess.
Yay. So what I would do is if you have the owner's manual, or you can look it up online, look it up. It'll be in there, what fuse that's on. It may be as simple as just changing the fuse.
Well,
that is the most likely culprit. That is the most likely culprit. Yeah, well, there you go. You've got your answer. So if anyone else has questions about the Dodge Grand Caravan, just call it in here to Auto Talk. My name is Ed Van Ness for a reason. You got a question about your van? Speak to me. I got you covered.
I didn't think it would be a fuse. So yeah, I will.
There's your problem, Pookie. You're thinking again. What do we talk about?
Yeah. Well,
we talk about that.
I will definitely check it out.
Check it out.
Of course, that also incorporates having to stand out in his butt ass cold to do so. Yes, I have a garage, but it's not.
Here's what you need. Here's what you need. You look it up indoors online. Okay, you find out exactly where the fuse is, and then you bring a pair of long nose pliers with you in case it's one of these itty bitty fuses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you pop the fuse, and hopefully you have a spare fuse, or you can pull a fuse out of. There might be an extra fuse in there that, as long as you find the same size fuse, you may disable something else temporarily, but just to see if it is indeed the fuse, and then you can go off and buy what you need, or put it back in. Just look at the schematic for your fuse box. See where that. You know what's going to happen, kids and kittens? I'm going to wind up looking it up for them. Aren't I, John?
Well, there's always that possibility.
There's always that. That's an option, isn't it? It's an option. Okay. But in all seriousness, that's what it sounds like to me. Right off the bat, that is the most inexpensive solution. Now, it's also not a horrible idea to bring it into the shop. Let them put the computer on it, just in case. There could be other associated issues, but that's your simple solution. If the button's not working, that means it's not getting power.
Yeah, well, now the thing was, let me think of it, because there for a while it would go off. I mean, it would be a 50-50. I'd start it. Sometimes it would come on. I'd shut it off. Then it wouldn't come on.
All right. Then they would start out as an intermittent problem. Now, what that could have been, again, this is just one possibility, is that the fuse came loose. It was sometimes making the connection, sometimes not. Now it might have just got itself in a position where it won't connect at all. It could be a wiring issue, where a wire got frayed, and it was, that's what a lot of intermittent issues are. It's frayed wiring.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we never had this exact problem, but that's what it sounds like to me. Mm-hmm. You've got it's an electrical issue. Current's not getting to where it needs to get to. The default is that it's switched off, and it says we're not moving this car because we don't have the traction control.
Which I don't know. I must have driven about 25 years in this type of climate before ever some sort of traction control was even an issue.
The car has nothing to do with the vehicle you own now. The vehicle is set up to say, you know what? This isn't working, so we're not moving. Okay? Doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't care. I don't care. We're talking about this car. This particular vehicle, this wonderful vehicle.
Well, fortunately, there's a cheat that I can use so I can work until
right. But the van doesn't like it when you do that.
Yeah, well,
I've answered your
things that van does that I don't like. But
well, your question's been answered, hasn't it?
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We still have another chip we have to.
Well, then let's finish off the chip, our pre-holiday chipsters.
How exactly are we surprised when a 17-year-old lifeguard from Illinois decides to step in?
Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people, but he's not who I'm worried about.
When legitimate authority refuses to do its duty, its sworn duty, others will fill the vacuum.
These chicken hawks want to make him a hero. And by hero, I mean someone willing to kill on their behalf. Kill you if you're not like them.
So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion.
Rittenhouse was egged on by people like Tucker Carlson.
Completely out of control.
Who talk all tough, vaccinated in their warm little studios while they dangle freedom and immortality in front of 17-year-old white boys, dying to be men so badly they'll kill you to prove it.
And right now, it's your time, America. It's your time to rise.
Rittenhouse didn't do this alone. No, he was encouraged, inspired by dark and pathetic voices in Washington.
The audience hit back, and that's what we need.
And the murderous mayhem from the mouths of these overcompensating cowards. This is not heroism. This is child pornography.
Damn right.
I actually agree with you.
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
And yet,
revolution.
Yeah, another bag of chips has been finished once again. By the way, we thank and triple thank Chip Franklin for his contribution, as well as others like Midas Touch and the like. They provide a lot of good information out there. So,
who else? Oh, we're thanking our new friend. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce his name. Our London taxi guest, gentleman that was on in the first hour.
Ikbal.
Was it Ikbal?
Ikbal, excuse me. You know what it is his email address is something completely, his name's something different. He goes by Ikbal, and I'm not 100%.
Ikbal?
I don't know the correlation there or whatnot, but that's fine. He was a great guest, and
yeah, he was
a lot of good information on that.
If you'd like to be a guest on our program, we'd be shocked, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. But you can be a temporary guest by giving us a call. 754-800-CHAT, 754-800-2428 if you feel you have something to add to the fray here, if you will.
Or even if
let's see. What do we got?
John, I gotta say, I'm a little perturbed.
Uh-oh.
You kicked up a big thing this week. I kicked up a little bit of a thing by people, protecting Steve Johnson, and they deservedly so, over my comments about what I commented on. It would have been nice to have some of you folks. Yes, we got your tweets, we got your DMs, we got, some of you weren't as pleasant as you could be, and although we don't take that to heart, I really would have thought one or two of you would have manned up, or womaned up for that matter, and called into the program. And that's program with 2 M's and an E at the end, because we love our Brits. And I'm a little disappointed at that. Look, we don't get a lot of calls, but I thought we would have generated, enough vitriol, enough hate to have somebody spew on the lines. We'll take your calls. Make no mistake about it. And we will, until it gets to the point that you're just a blathering fool and you're not making sense anymore, or we just can't understand what you're saying. We'll sit here with you for 10, 15, 20 minutes going back and forth. You make your point, we'll make ours. And bring it on. Bring it
Well,
on.
here's
Or
the
if
thing,
you
it's
agree with us,
easy.
by the way, if you happen to agree with us, we'd love to have a little bit of fanboy action here too. That would be fantastic. It would be great. Either side, hate us, love us, could care less about us. Indifference. We are the indifference radio station. If you're indifferent, we're the place for you, aren't we, John?
Well, here's
Your
a
line
here's
right
a
there.
tweet.
I don't care.
Well, I just happened to be glancing at my Twitter feed here,
Great,
and saw something from Tyler Mason 21. One way to raise the stakes of today's Vikings Packers game: losing quarterback has to get vaccinated.
Ooh, oh, your quarterback isn't vaccinated either?
No, he isn't.
Really?
No.
What's wrong with these people? Well, I don't want to.
Well, the difference between Rodgers and our guy is that Kirk Cousins, by the way, is that our Cousins come right out and said it. Not so much. Where Rodgers tried to put on this BS and showmanship and a little sidestep and a two-side shuffle and I got inoculated. Oh yeah, okay.
I got inoculated once too. It was just outside Cleveland, and well, it's still tied up in the courts. We can't. It involved a Girl Scout uniform and a banana stalk. It's
now
brown cow.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, what else do we have here at the
twilight? Yeah,
we have. Tell you what do we got? About 3 minutes. Here's it's all said and done, but you're familiar with Tulsi Gabbard, right?
Oh yes. Go ahead.
She had a little weigh in here on Rittenhouse, so let's give this a listen just to kill some time, if nothing else.
The prosecutor in this Rittenhouse trial obviously did not do his due diligence before making the decision to prosecute. This tragedy never would have happened if the government had simply carried out its responsibilities to protect the safety, lives, and property of innocent people.
How do you know John's posted a video and I didn't? That's how.
Oh, it is what it is.
How do you know when John's just bypassed the whole video editing department? That's how.
Well, it was there.
Yeah, well,
it was there.
Right.
It's actually been there for 2 weeks.
Let's pull the curtain back a little bit. The nicely put together videos that you see where there's the logo and you don't see us, and there's a nice drop shadow and everything is neat, and that's the ones that I put up. And John will oftentimes leave videos for me to clean up, and I will do that, and you can't tell the difference. Last night, as I was producing the show, John must have had, I swear, 15 videos up there. And there's no way. And we still haven't played most of what he's put up there, which are, oh, look at that. I don't even have to talk about it anyway. We're
it's
so
about
close.
that time.
We're so close. We're so close, like right about
there. Time to say goodbye, folks. Thanks for listening this week. For the whiner over there, he gets the Rittenhouse Award this week, folks. I'm John Shannon.
It's a turkey.
And I got the money.
Please stop. You talk too much.
Gobble, gobble.
I can't believe the things that you say every day. If you keep on talking, baby, you know you're bound to drive me away. Yes, if you keep on talking, baby, you know you're bound to drive me away. Yes.
dear. Yes, I'm listening. Oh, I heard every word you said, honey. Yes. Yes, dear. Oh, I agree. You're right. Yeah, you're always right, baby. Yes, dear.